Hello and welcome into another exciting edition of Talking Bengals. We are almost to training camp. We are literally on the cusp of it, and we have a lot of great stories to bring up tonight, talking about some headlines, get a little bit of trivia and Who Dey History going, and surprise each other with a random offseason topic that we're each going to provide. So Zach is going through whatever kind of monsoon, hurricane, thunderstorm things are going on in the South right now, so he may or may not be able to jump on, but we'll see. But otherwise, you got me, Josh, and Nick here to keep you entertained for the rest of this episode. Josh, how we doing?
Doing peachy. It's nice up here. It ain't raining like it is down there in Alabama.
Word up, Nick.
That's the benefit of living in the Ohio River Valley.
It can be at times, but there are drawbacks as well. But that's neither here nor there. So we're not gonna. This is not a me personal podcast. So we'll get into other stuff right now. But there is something we do need to talk about. And apparently, I didn't realize it, but Joe Burrow must be a huge Eminem fan. You know, he's just going after, the death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace album he's dropped. He's all about it. So he has cut off his, luscious locks and decided to peroxide cut look going on there. So it's really bleach blonde. And you know what? It reminds me of his high school days. Josh, what are your thoughts on the extreme Burrow change?
It kind of wised up. It had too much hair. You got to cut it down a bit. I'm just looking at me and Casey. Perfect example. Cut that hair down. Get rid of it. There you go, Nick. Nick's got on the bandwagon. Bald is beautiful. He's realizing it now. Go ahead, Nick.
Josh, I've been doing this for years, brother. But anyways, will the real Slim Burrow please stand up? We're going to have a problem here.
Well played.
But yeah, I kind of stole that from Casey, but still it's absolutely hilarious. It's about time he cut his hair off. It was starting to look kind of awful. Of course I'm a guy, and I just don't think that long hair on guys is cool, but whatever. It's not my taste.
Well, my last thought on the hair before we get into things that actually matter toward football. The name of the newest Eminem album, what's in parentheses there is Coup de Grace, which is kill shot, right between the eyes. Maybe that's what Burrow's going to do to the AFC this year. Just take him out. Just done. He's coming for the championship. He's going for the Super Bowl. He's in the right mindset. So, hey, as long as it's a metaphorical coup de grace, that's all we care about. Take him out. Take out the AFC North, the AFC period. Take out the whole NFL and be on top. That's what we're looking for. And the good news we got going with that, he is cleared 100% full participation, can play in preseason games, which I still don't think he really will, but he's able to do so. Nick, any thoughts on that?
I think that he should play at least a couple drives just to get some experience in. That was, in my opinion, that's been one of our kind of Achilles heels for the past few years, is that Burrow didn't play any in the preseason. He had no preseason snaps, no snaps against another team. Everything's just been in practice. Get him on the field against another team. Get used to reading the defenses, doing his normal stuff. Get all the bugs out in the preseason when it doesn't matter. I think they should let him play at least 2 drives.
Yeah. Josh?
I think he absolutely has to play in the preseason. That, like Nick said, that's been the biggest hurdle that the Bengals have had to get over every single season. And he hasn't had a regular preseason since he came into the NFL. He had the first season, COVID. Second season was the ACL. Third season was the appendicitis. Fourth, last season, that was the calf injury. He has not had one regular preseason game in every single season, aside from the Vikings game in his second season. That was the one season where we actually started off a little bit on the right foot. But this season, we have to start off going head first, trying to get that number 1 seed in the AFC, because that is going to be the best path to get to New Orleans.
No, 100% agree on that. I mean, you got to get off to a good start and just tell them, if anybody gets near you, just throw the ball away. Don't take a sack. Give them the ball. We don't really care. Give away a fumble. We don't give a crap about that. Just don't get hit in the preseason. But get your reps in, get comfortable, get ready to go, and get in a rhythm with the offense. Yeah, just avoid getting hit at all costs. I don't care if you throw an interception to a guy who's trying to sack you just to get him to not hit you in the preseason. That's fine with me because it's practice. There's no point in taking sacks, taking hard hits during practice. It doesn't make any sense. So I think he's ready to go. It's going to be an exciting offseason. And, Joe, if anything hurts, take a day or two off. Don't push yourself in the training camp. Don't push yourself during preseason. Take your time off while you can.
Show your pride for Ken and Willie Anderson's Hall of Fame candidacy with our exclusive t-shirt. Featuring a bold design, this shirt lets you celebrate two football legends. Plus, 30% of proceeds go to the Ken Anderson Alliance and Willie Anderson Lineman Academy. Wear your support and make a difference today.
Other exciting things going on this week. Mike Brown talked to the media. And, Nick, I know you got thoughts on that, so I'll let you lead into this topic.
Talking about the Mike Brown topic?
Yep.
Absolutely. Sorry, I went a little ADHD there.
He's zoning out on us. Yeah.
I saw a squirrel. No, but seriously, Mike Brown saying that they're going to bend over backwards to make a deal with Jamar Chase. I don't think that they even needed to say that publicly. I think that we knew that that was going to happen, to be quite honest with you. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's the best wide receiver in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, the best wide receiver hands. He's got the best feet in the league. The guy can get open double covered in a phone booth. For those young kids, just watch an old movie. You'll see a phone booth. Like one in the 60s and 70s. 90s is not old. But seriously, Jamar Chase, one heck of a receiver, someone that you want to make sure that is on your team. You want to make sure that you're never playing against him because it's so hard to cover a guy like that. With the amount of skills he has, even if you're double covering, triple covering, he's still going to find a way to get open. And if he's not open, that means you're leaving somebody else wide open. So you don't want to play against him. Spend what you have to get to him.
I completely agree. There was no reason really to say it. Every single fan, every single person that covers the team, everyone in the national media knows the Bengals. The reason why they haven't signed T. Higgins is because they are going to sign Jamar Chase. There's no question, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is the number one receiver. He's arguably the number one receiver in the league. He's the most versatile receiver in the league. He can do literally everything, and they're going to play him in the slot this year, it sounds like. That's what they've been talking about, and that's going to be a pretty exciting little change of pace for what he's been doing. They've used him in the backfield. They've used him out wide. They've used him everywhere. They've done everything with him except in the slot. So do that this year, show what he can do as a slot receiver, and it's just the sky is the limit, and I cannot wait to see what he does this year because this year's offense is going to be stout.
Yeah, man, not a whole lot more to add on Jamar. He's got a fresh haircut, too, with a nice-looking fade. I mean, the boys mean business. That's the best way to look at it right now. Everybody's coming into camp, ready to go, looking for a Super Bowl. I mean, I think last season, as much as you never want to say it's good to have a setback, it's good to miss the playoffs because we've been here long enough as Bengals fans that it's never fun when you miss the playoffs. It hurts. But you know what? For competitors like Joe and Jamar and most of the rest of the team, it hurts. It makes you mad. And it gives you that fuel, the fact that you are the laughing stock of the AFC North, because let's face it, whether you had Joe Burrow injured or not, people still like, oh, the Bengals are a bunch of bums. They're not good. They couldn't make the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know about you, but that ticked me off. And I'd imagine the people making a lot of money to play football who put the uniform on each week, that probably ticked them off too. So, hey, I'm ready for it. Let's get into camp, Let's get into preseason. And let's get to the actual regular season and start winning some ball games. That's what I think.
I wanted to expound on that a little bit. I want to expound about them because that's a great topic. People, even with Jake Browning in there, I mean, we still had a chance to make the playoffs. Now, you put in a Joe Burrow where Jake Browning may have not have made some plays that especially Joe Burrow would have made. We're in the playoffs. Clock management's huge. I mean, honestly, the Bengals just have to come out this year with a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove. Go out there and make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, honestly, as Nick was saying, putting Joe Burrow in, that's going to definitely give a big boost to the offense. But the biggest reason they didn't make the playoffs last year wasn't the offense. The offense, even with Jake Browning, it was running most of the time on point. But the defense, the back end of that defense was the biggest problem, losing Von Bell and Jesse Bates at the same time. You're both number one safeties. Made a huge difference with all the communication that everything they're seeing. That is why the defense let them down so bad. So I think bringing Von Bell back, bringing in everyone that they brought in, moving Dax Hill to corner, everything is just helping the defense to pick up where they were 2-3 years ago with everything Lou Anarumo wants to do. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing that they needed to help get them to the Super Bowl.
Hey, great point, Josh. Great point.
So they're improved overall at this point going into the season.
Podium Automotive is a proud sponsor of Talkin Bengals. In Greater Cincinnati, it's Podium Automotive for all your auto needs. Skilled technicians, quality service you can trust, and fair prices. Tell us Talkin Bengals sent you and get 5% off all services. Schedule your appointment today on Facebook at Podium Automotive or call 859-869-0097.
Talking about how the offense has gotten better with Joe Burrow coming back, talking about how the defense has gotten better with the improvements they've made. Let's jump into Who Dey History. We're going to talk about an offensive guy and a defensive guy that had a major impact on this organization and are rightfully being honored in this year's Ring of Honor class. So that is Corey Dillon and Tim Krumrie. So we are all old enough that we can remember both of these players at least a little bit. Got to actually see Tim Krumrie play because he retired in like 94, 95, if I remember right. The biggest memory I have of Tim Krumrie in like real life is riding off on a motorcycle that the Brown family got him as a retirement gift. So I gave it to him at halftime. He rode it out of, Riverfront Stadium or Synergy Field, or whatever you want to call it at that point. Just rode it right off of the concrete AstroTurf, basically. And, he had a great career. So Tim Krumrie was a great player on the Super Bowl, literally broke his leg in the Super Bowl, which was very unfortunate. He could have made a bigger impact in the game. But I'm going to pontificate a little bit more on Krumrie because I know you two are going to talk about the next guy, so I won't have as many comments about him. But, a nose tackle, a tough guy, literally, got his nose broke in the game, just kept on trucking, no worries about it. They had to convince him not to come back on the field with a broken leg. So, he's just that kind of ball player. He wanted to play all the time, tough guy, great Bengal. And, I imagine he's going to be just a phenomenal guy to see at the Ring of Honor. And he'll talk, a great speech. So looking forward to all that stuff from Tim Krumrie. But whoever talks first gets to introduce our next person. Go.
I go. One of my favorite all-time Bengals, Corey Dillon. I do want to talk about Tim Krumrie for just a second. What a heck of a guy. You have to be told, nah, you're not going back on the field, buddy. You broke your leg. No, I'm going to play. No, you're not going back on the field. It's not a choice. And imagine saying that to one of the players these days. Imagine that exchange is not happening these days. Anyways, to one of my favorite players of all time from the Bengals, Corey Dillon, hard-nosed running back, explosive speed, once he was in the open field, almost nobody could catch him. And almost nobody could tackle him. I mean, look at the line that he was running behind and how well he did. I mean, he had like one, maybe two good offensive linemen that was blocking in front of him. And look what he did with the Bengals. If that's not a Hall of Fame career, I don't know what is. And then he goes to New England and they win a Super Bowl the first year he's there. Don't tell me that's a coincidence. The guy is freaking awesome. Great running back. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But more importantly, he deserves to be in the Ring of Honor for the Bengals for everything he did when he played for the Bengals. Josh, I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I was actually listening to an interview that he did. It was on one of the YouTube channels. Just him talking about how much of an honor it is to be in the Ring of Honor for the Bengals. It looks like there is no hard feelings with how things ended with the Bengals, even though, we all seem to speculate that, it seemed to not end the greatest because he really wasn't able to achieve what his talent said he should have. But I mean, he is so happy to be in the Bengals Ring of Honor, and I love to see it. Anytime we can bring somebody back, that means so much to the history of this franchise. It's something that the Bengals should have done a long time ago. He should have been in the Ring of Honor years ago, but they didn't have it years ago. This is the third year of it. So this is something long overdue. So happy to see it. Can't wait to see who they bring in next too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, he had the rookie rushing record for a while. He had the NFL single game rushing record for a while. And he gets a bad rap from a lot of people because, he left kind of like Carl Pickens did, a little bit, grumpy and salty and not happy with the organization. But who can blame these guys? The organization was hot garbage. And considering the three of us sat there through it, I think we can call it hot garbage. We gave them enough money. Our parents did. We didn't have any money at that point. But, we gave them enough money when they were the terrible, dark age 90s to mid-2000s Bengals. Yeah, I mean, Corey Dillon literally got cast out of Cincinnati just as they were starting to get good. And people thought, oh, he's washed up. And, New England had won a Super Bowl or two before he got there, but he led that team in overall all-purpose yards. He was the most productive offensive player other than Tom Brady. But, quarterbacks, they don't really count the same. They have a different job than every other playmaker on the field. So the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame and some of these other jokers is ridiculous. And it just goes to show you, just like, prom king and queen in high school, it's a popularity contest. And if you don't make everybody happy, you don't get their votes. That's why I think the most ridiculous process, and since it's off season, we can go off on this a little bit if you guys want to elaborate with me, is Hall of Fame voting for every sport is dumb. Sports writers, they get to do it. But if this guy like Corey Dillon didn't do enough interviews because he didn't like doing interviews. So he ducked the media, didn't want to talk to them, and they all got butthurt for lack of any other way of saying it. And since he's not been on, the talking head shows every year, he's not in the NFL Today shows or whatever else they are, he's kind of gotten forgotten in the fact that the writers didn't like him. He's just disappeared. And I'm not going to name drop the people that got voted in ahead of him, but there's at least 3 people, running backs from his era, that have got voted into the Hall of Fame whose numbers are a joke compared to Corey Dillon. So I know I wasn't going to talk too long about it, but I am passionate because he made football fun in a time when football wasn't fun. He was the Chad before there was Chad. He was the reason you watched the Bengals every week when they were bad. You really did. And I mean, we have our Willie Anderson campaign going on. We're going to pop that and plug it later. But Willie Anderson wouldn't be as well known if it wasn't for Corey Dillon, and vice versa. But those two guys really helped make each other's careers. So they should both be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. And the fact that they're not is just a bias against the Cincinnati Bengals. Any thoughts, guys?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he played most of his career for literally any other team, just looking at his numbers, even though he's only got 1 Super Bowl win, there's plenty of people with 0 Super Bowl wins that are in the Hall of Fame just because they had great careers. I mean, he has a total, let's see, he had 3 seasons with under 1,100 yards. 3. And that's rushing yards. That's not total yards. That's just rushing yards in his whole career. Any other team that he would have played more than 3 seasons with New England with, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. Easy. First ballot. No question about it. But because he played for the Bengals, that's the same reason Chad Johnson isn't in the Hall of Fame, even though he was the best receiver in the league for most of his career. The Bengals, the small market that they have, means that you have to be completely outstanding. You have to be the best player in the history of that position, like Anthony Munoz. You have to be the best player at your position ever to get into the Hall of Fame. And that is an absolute travesty because he should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think a couple of the players that the Bengals have now are probably destined to be in the Hall of Fame, but it ain't right. And you've got lesser players that are getting in just because of the team and the market that they play in.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys both, bring up great points. And the main point is that it seems like it's a bias towards the Bengals. I feel like it's not necessarily just a bias towards the Bengals. I feel like it's because the Bengals are such a small market team, right? It's not like Kansas City where they have pushed Mahomes on everybody, or Travis Kelce, or like New England where they pushed Tom Brady on everybody, where he was like the poster child of football for the entire time he played, or like a Dan Marino or Brett Favre. I love Brett Favre, hard-nosed football player. Anyways, but still, he got pushed on people, right? He was pushed on primetime television. Everybody in the nation got to see a lot of Brett Favre. Everybody got to see a lot of Randy Moss. Everybody, Terry Bradshaw. Everybody got to see a lot of Terry Bradshaw, right? They didn't get to see a lot of like a Boomer Esiason or, a Willie Anderson or a Corey Dillon. 2 great football players with Willie Anderson and Corey Dillon. But you didn't get the entire U.S. in on it. And then on top of it, Casey, you brought up a huge point. He didn't want to do the interviews. Who cares? Who cares? It should be based on merit. He came out, he performed, he did better than everybody else for longer than anybody else. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? In my point of view, he got snubbed. And he's still getting snubbed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, people say we're biased, but numbers speak for themselves. Am I saying he's the greatest running back of all time? No. But is he in the top 20 greatest running backs of all time? I think yes. Some people may disagree, but I think yes. His numbers don't lie. His impact on the game doesn't lie. And he was doing it with a team that was mostly hot garbage.
Mostly.
With the worst quarterbacks in team history. I think they only played 1 night game, and he broke the rookie rushing record. I don't think they had another night game.
And then you had the game against Denver where he went 278 yards against the best defense in the league.
Yeah, and that wasn't even nationally televised. That game was like, an ignored game because nobody cared about it, and he just ripped off 278 yards. So, we are passionate about Corey Dillon, so Hall of Fame committee and voters, I know you are listening to me because that's what you do in your free time. You listen to Talkin Bengals. You better vote Corey Dillon in, you better vote Willie Anderson in, and you better vote Ken Anderson in, or else. What's the or else? You don't want to know. Anyway,
Have an or else. We don't have an or else. We'll send you letters.
Don't give
away the secrets, Nick.
Gosh, Nick. Strongly worded or else's is all we got at this point. There's nothing else to back it up. So thanks for telling the whole world.
We'll send a whole bunch of letters in.
That's about all we got. Maybe we'll come pick it outside the Hall of Fame, and by pick it I mean just walk in and look around.
Show your Bengals and Northern Kentucky pride. Get the Talkin Bengals Y'all shirt now. Order today exclusively at talkinbengals.com.
On to more fun topics. So trivia. So I've stumped the guys the last few weeks in trivia. Last week was so bad nobody even got close. So I'm going to make this one easier. We're going to actually give you choices. And we'll see if from a multiple choice menu, A through D, you guys can actually get this.
I'm just choosing C.
The answer is B.
Oh gosh. They're literally just coming up with a random test taking. As you see, they did not excel in school. All right.
Abracadabra.
I work on cars for a living.
Which of the following Cincinnati wide receivers was the tallest? A, Chad Johnson. B, Carl Pickens. C, AJ Green. Or D, Chris Collinsworth.
He was the shortest.
I'm going to say A.
Chad Johnson. So, Nick, you got three options.
Well, it wasn't Chris Collinsworth. What were the other two again? AJ Green and who else?
Carl Pickens.
Carl Pickens.
It
Ooh, really?
actually is Chris Collinsworth.
What?
He's taller than
No way.
Look it up. Look it up.
He looks like a little guy.
He does
Even
look
more
like-
of a reason I don't like him.
But remember, he's old now. You start to crunch over and look smaller the older you get.
If there's one Bengal that after he finished playing, if he would have just left football altogether, I would have been perfectly fine. It would be Chris Collinsworth. Now,
There we go.
his organization does do a lot of really good stuff in the community. Okay, I give his organization the right kind of credit. Right, go and support the Chris Collinsworth Foundation. Does great work, but he needs to get off of TV.
Quit talking about how much you love Patrick Mahomes.
His love
Especially when they're playing the Bengals. Come on.
His love affair with Patrick Mahomes, I can't do it on the podcast because we like to keep it as close to G as possible. But my wife really does not like the simulation or the noise effects.
Oh goodness, y'all are ridiculous. picking on Cincinnati's own at this point, even though he's not from Cincinnati originally. But yeah, he does have a love affair with Patrick Mahomes. It's a little bit gross. But the funny thing is, the order that I gave you the people in, that is the height order. Chad Johnson, 6'1", Carl Pickens, 6'2", AJ Green, 6'4", Chris Collinsworth, 6'5".
I guess I think what kind of makes it a little bit weird is Chad Johnson's arms are really long, so it kind of makes him look a lot taller. I thought he was taller than 6'1".
Well, he was also the most athletic out of the bunch too. So there's that.
I mean, to be fair, I'll rattle myself on this one. I would have guessed AJ Green. If I didn't already have the answer to the question, I looked it up. I would have said AJ Green because he looks tall, he's lanky, and I agree. Collinsworth, when you watch him, even on like old tapes, he doesn't seem like he's that tall. Like 6'3" maybe, but yeah, I would have guessed AJ Green.
Take your career to new heights with Constructive Curiosity. Whether it's career coaching, mental performance training, or business management consulting, Constructive Curiosity has the insight to get it right. Visit constructivecuriosity.com to get started today.
Speaking of old, bringing up tapes, Casey, tapes.
Hey, people still watch film, is what they call it, even though it's all digital files now.
You are making me feel really old. I haven't heard that since I was a kid.
We are old.
Put the tape in the VCR.
Oh gosh. What's the VCR? You realize cassettes are now like worth a good deal of money, like VHS and cassette tapes and all that stuff. They're now memorabilia and sought after by youngins. And I'm like, I don't think it's not that exciting, guys. Well, I lived through it. The tape will get frayed and get messed up, and the video stores would yell at you to rewind it. If you didn't rewind it, they charge you. I do miss the video stores.
Be kind, rewind.
So maybe that's an off-season topic since we're into stuff now. If you could choose all the streaming services that we have now, or to go back to the good old days of Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and for those of us in the Northern Kentucky area, which I'm betting most people in this area or listen to this are from that area, Movie Gallery, would you take that or streaming services?
I've become lazy. I like the streaming services. I don't even have cable. I just like to stream things. Plus, I can get it on my phone. I can listen to movies while I'm working at the shop, and it just makes things so much better.
I'm gonna have to go with the streaming services. As much nostalgia as there is, and pulling out like a DVD or a VHS and watching one of the old movies, just being able to press a button to say stop or to go back to where you were actually watching it, to pick the actual place where you were watching, so much easier. It's so much more convenient, and I don't have to rewind a darn thing. Now, DVDs, you didn't have to rewind, blah, 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 but still, streaming services, I mean, heck, you can turn TV off, turn it back on like 4 hours later and just pick right back up where you left off. How awesome is that? Heck, I remember running to the bathroom, trying to go to the bathroom fast enough so that way I didn't miss anything. Like, it was a race. Me and my brother, we actually fought over the bathroom.
It got violent and bloody at times.
Yes. At my house, it did. Between the kids, it was definitely violent.
So, I mean, I think, the more things change, the more things have stayed the same because, you can do it instantly. You can make it happen. You can find something. But that's the problem, is finding something. So you used to stand in a video store for 30 minutes looking for what movie you wanted. Now you just click through Netflix, then Hulu, then Prime, then Peacock, then Apple, then insert whatever other streaming service you want to, trying to pick out what you want to watch, and it can take hours. At some point, I'm just like, can we just watch a rerun of something we've already seen because I don't want to just keep clicking. So,
well, it's not even just that. But once you start looking for something and you're like, oh, I'm just going to add this to the list. I don't want to watch it right now. And then you spend the next hour just doing that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that. No, but no, back in the day when you picked a bad movie, you just watched the whole thing through because you already paid to rent it, right? You just paid to rent it. So you have to watch the whole thing all the way through because I don't want to waste my money. I'm at least going to watch the darn movie.
So, my wife worked at Blockbuster when we were dating at, 2 different Blockbusters at different times we were dating. And she got into like indie films for a while. I have watched some garbage movies. But like Nick said, you watch them all the way through. You already paid for it. What else are you going to do with your time? So you're like, I already paid for it. Might as well just waste this next hour of my life. And oh my gosh. There's a reason I'm not as big of a movie person as a lot of people. I watched a lot of garbage movies. And I'm like, can't do it. Can't do it. So I'm halfway through. I got to see the end. I've only turned off like 3 movies ever. And you have to be so bad for me to just walk away from. Otherwise, I get at least some kind of curious or invested in a character. So if I turn off your movie, you probably don't need to be directing or producing anymore. I'm just saying. Well, that was my off-season topic. Josh, what do you got for us?
So I've got a list of different things given to me by a somewhat loyal listener. That would be my wife.
She's going to join the pod. Bring her on the pod. She should ask directly herself.
Hey, Kristen, come here. Come here. We want you to introduce the next topic. Yeah, just pick one of these. I know, just pick one. Whichever one you feel like you want to hear the most of. It's good. She sent a bunch of them. You want to do that one? Okay. She told me to just pick one with her mouth. It is, where is your top family vacation spots to go to?
Nick, go ahead.
All right. Old Faithful is Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg is just You know what you're getting. You know you got Pigeon Forge right next door. You got all the go-karts and the putt-putt, and most importantly, Hillbilly Golf. Free plug for you guys. Love Hillbilly Golf. If I go to Gatlinburg and don't play Hillbilly Golf, I actually turn around and drive back so I can play Hillbilly Golf. But recently, one of the best vacations I've been on, we went to Pensacola. Pensacola Beach, Florida is absolutely beautiful. The sand is magnificent, white sand, real soft on your feet. The water is super clear, some of the clearest water I've ever seen in the Gulf. But I think, if I have to pick the go-to, it's going to be Gatlinburg. You got the mountains, you got Ober-Gatlinburg. There's so much to do there.
Well,
what about you, Casey?
Gatlinburg is nice. I'm not going to say it's not. I've been there multiple times. I'm going to be going again this fall for a family trip with the extended family. But yeah, I'm a sucker for beaches. I've only met one beach I didn't like, or two, I guess, honestly, ever. But yeah, Florida beaches, Panhandle is great. You got Shorter Beach. You don't have to walk as far. Central Florida is beautiful. The Treasure Island, St. Pete area, but you do have a little bit longer walk on the beach. On the Atlantic side, Jacksonville Beach, St. Augustine. If you love history, which my family, we love history. Yes, I'm a history nerd. If there's historical impact to places, I'm going to go. So beach was my easy answer. I'm kind of going like Nick. Beach is the obvious easy one because I love just a beach vacation and relaxing. But 3 places I'd name if you like history that you should definitely go to, all on the East Coast. First one is St. Augustine, oldest city in America. If you haven't gone, it is fantastic. The food is great. The culture is wonderful. You can learn a lot of history, but if that's not for you, there's still lots of other stuff you can do in the town. And then the next one up is going to be Charleston. Charleston is fantastic. Beautiful place. Lots of history.
South Carolina, people.
Yes, Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, not West Virginia. I'm not going to get into what my wife calls West Virginia. Just think post-apocalyptic. That's all I'll say there for that. It's not a place she enjoys being. So yes, Charleston, South Carolina. The food scene's on point. The ghost tours are awesome. The regular tours are awesome. Just so much culture. History, culture, everything you need right there, and beautiful beaches within a very short drive. And lastly, one that, being a guy who loves the South, people wouldn't think a whole lot of, but the entire Boston, Lexington, Concord, and Salem area. Took a vacation there about 10 years ago. It is still one of my top 3 vacations that I've ever gone on. It's great. It's beautiful. Definitely go in the summertime. You don't want or fall would be okay too. Springs are really wet. Winters are really cold. But if you go in the summertime, it is beautiful. One of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. There's a lot of good history to enjoy. And yeah, those are just wonderful places. If you haven't visited all of them. All right, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say St. Patty's Day in Boston, I've heard, is pretty wild. St. Patrick's Day in Boston. I heard that's pretty wild.
It's gonna be a little bit cold for me. No, it's gonna be no dice. Nope.
So I'm just gonna go with the top 3 vacation places top 3 vacations, I guess, we've taken as a family, all 4 of us. Always Gatlinburg. We're going there in October. Love Gatlinburg. We've been there with Casey and his family, and I try to go to Gatlinburg every chance I get. It's phenomenal. So much to do with the family. Even if you just want to hang out in the cabin, get some beers, play some pool, sit in the hot tub, just hang out. I love going to Gatlinburg. Next, we actually just did this, and it's not the cheapest vacation, but it's so much fun, and there's so much for the kids to do. I think it might be one of the most fun single vacations we've done, but we did a Disney cruise. That was a freaking blast. I mean, there was so much to do. All the food was included. Granted, the beer wasn't included, but just you don't have to worry about that. You just keep getting beer. But the islands, beautiful. Everything was fantastic. I mean, Disney cruise, we definitely want to do another one of those. But my favorite place to go on vacation for the family, it is a short 4-hour drive to the beach. It is the Indiana Dunes. going up to Michigan City, Indiana. It's about an hour away from Chicago. Beautiful beaches, fresh water, so you don't have the sticky salt water feeling after you get out of the ocean. Don't have to worry about sharks either, because I love watching Shark Week. I don't want to see a shark. I don't want to get in the water and have to worry about a shark coming up to me. It's like I said, the beach water is clear. The sand is awesome. I love going up there. There's not like a pier or anything that I know of anywhere we go, but it is a phenomenal place to go, and it is a great beach to take the family to. Nick,
So
did you pick a topic?
I didn't pick a third vacation spot. Virginia Beach. Right? You're close to Casey Williamsburg.
Yep.
Beautiful, historic. We got a great winery there. Not only that, but you also have Norfolk, Virginia that's close. You get to see all the fighter jets flying off the coast. That was pretty cool. And then you're also only a couple hours drive to DC. You can take a day trip from Virginia Beach to DC, as long as everything's safe there. Not going to get political, but, just so much in that area on top of, just the boardwalk there is just absolutely amazing. They go through and they comb the beach every morning. Every once in a while, you can see some of the teams from the Navy out on the beach training. If you wake up early enough in the morning or stay up late enough at night, so that's always fun. Let's see. My topic. Your favorite non-traditional sport?
How far are we going to call it non-traditional?
Like baseball, basketball, football, like tennis, and golf are like traditional sports.
So a sport that I really wish we had in high school, but they didn't get it until after we freaking left, was wrestling. I put on that little placard, or that little piece of paper that they gave us, said, "What sport do you want next year?" When we were juniors. I put wrestling. And sure enough, they get it the year we left. But honestly, the thing that me and Kristen have been playing lately is pickleball. We go up every Monday to our church. They have open pickleball. You just go play with people, and it is so much fun. It's the first time we've played since high school. And people, do you all remember playing pickleball in high school?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling them, like, yeah, this is the first time I played since high school. And they were like, "You played pickleball in high school?" I was like, yeah. I guess I didn't realize that was a weird thing, but we play every Monday, and it's probably my favorite thing to play right now.
Pickleball is fun. That's a good one. I was going to say pickleball, but since we've already discussed that one, I'm going to pick another one back in the day, which was Wednesday. But I'm going to kickball tomorrow. Nick, I just don't feel like kicking the ball today, but kickball was fantastic. And if you played back when you actually had the rubber balls that would leave welts on people's faces if you kicked it at them and they didn't catch it, that was fun. It was hard to beat just kicking the crap out of a ball and getting to run as far as you could, dodging it when they tried to throw it at you, and you could just get a home run almost every time if you had any agility and athletic ability whatsoever. That was a good time.
That kickball was too easy.
It was fun. Dave.
I would just kick it as far as I could, and then I could jog around the bases. Nobody played far enough back. So my favorite non-traditional sport, kind of going in between snowboarding and pickleball. Two very different kinds of sports, right? Non-traditional kind of sports. But I don't know. Snowboarding was just very relaxing. So I'm probably going to go snowboarding. Not even like slope style or anything. Just going out and just enjoying the recreation of it. Being able to go down the mountain, throw some AirPods in, and just go snowboarding. I really want to take the kids out to like out west, get them to be able to, see if they can snowboard or ski or whatever, and try to teach them how to do that for a week. I think they'd have so much fun with that. But I want to wait till they get older. Youngest one's 4. I don't think that's going to go over very well.
Tubing only at that age, basically.
I do have an honorable mention, though. Handball. I loved handball. Playing that in high school, that game was so much fun.
I take back my favorite non-traditional sport. It was dodgeball. Dodgeball's my favorite. You got to dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge.
Of course, your Patches O'Houlihan, so
I love dodgeball, man. I swear. It was – you could take out your aggression at school and not get in trouble for it. And it was so fun. And I felt so bad for the people standing in the back and had no clue how to play because the ball would always hit them right in the face. And this was before they switched to those foamy balls.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be those rubber balls that go, you just hear it. You can just hear the pong.
That same thing was like the kickball. Yeah, when you had the good old rubber balls that hurt people, and if the gym teachers were naive enough, or they were just cruel enough, really, so they couldn't have been naive. It was their job. When they'd pick a picker, and one of them would be a baseball player, and the other one would be a non-athletic person. And the baseball player pick all the other baseball players and just lay waste. I remember there was one game I played, I guess it was probably my sophomore year before they got rid of the good balls, rubber balls, where it was literally half the baseball team was on one team and the other team was a whole bunch of non-athletic people, and it was just a slaughter. There's no other way to put it. It was just a slaughter. But Alamo dodgeball.
So
Do you guys remember Alamo dodgeball, where it's the last person standing? That really prepared us for the rest of life and how cutthroat people can really be, because people are like, oh, yeah, I'm on your team. As soon as they said that, they'd hit you in the back. And they'd be like, oh, sorry, dude. I didn't mean to get you. I was going to wait till the end. It was just going to be us. And they keep doing that to everybody until it's the end. And then they saw if they won or not. I don't know who those jerks were that did that, but they've won a lot of Alamo dodgeball games.
Yeah, that was you, Casey. You were that guy. Me and Casey, best friends since 4 years old, and he stabbed me in the back.
Hey, all's fair in love and Alamo dodgeball. That's all I'm saying.
That's it. I'm going to put it on your drum set.
Word up.
Guess what? You just proved that advertising on podcasts works. Reach thousands of local listeners each week and grow your business. Reach out to Talkin Bengals today to find out more by emailing talkinbengals@gmail.com.
All right, any final thoughts, gents?
Josh, I'll let you go first.
Oh, training camp starts tomorrow. Everyone's already really reported for training camp, so it's going to be exciting to see what happens, how everything goes, how Burrow's progressing. And then we have joint practices. That's going to be really the biggest test because that's going to be a little bit more competitive. I can't wait to see how that happens. We'll, of course, talk about it when that time comes. But for everyone, just stay safe, be good, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, I'll go next. So everybody, if you haven't noticed, Casey and I were wearing our Together We Are Florence Y'all, and supporting the victims still of that tragic event that happened in Florence. Shirts are still available. Still 100% of the proceeds that we would get in our pockets is going to go into their pockets. So please help us support them and help us to be able to do anything we can to give back. Also, please make sure you're following us, Talkin Bengals, no G, for all of our handles. It's either Talkin _ or @Talkin Bengals. If you can't find us on one, try the other. Casey?
Yep, Nick is right. So we do have all of our different handles there on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Talking Bengals. On X and YouTube, it is at Talking_Bengals. TikTok, Zach is not here, so I'm sorry. Follow us on the TikTokies. If you look at us anywhere else, Zach has put it there and you can find it, but I'm failing, so Zach's going to yell at me next week, and I'm not going to care. So there we go. We are also on TikTok as well. Check us out there. Don't forget to go ahead and sign the petition to get Ken Anderson and Willie Anderson into the Hall of Fame. We have a petition on move.org right now. So look at our Facebook page. You can find it there. Don't just like it. Don't just share it. Sign it. We need signatures on it. The more signatures we get, the better chances we're going to have, because we are going to submit that to the Hall of Fame voting committee. We're going to actually send that out when we get all the signatures we can on it. Additionally, buy the awesome shirt that's going to support them as well. Remember, 30% of proceeds for our Anderson Brothers t-shirt, which is one, has an awesome design on it. Two, they're just legends. Three, 30% of the proceeds of that are going to the Ken Anderson Alliance and Willie Anderson Lineman Academy. So, hey, don't just, put your money where your mouth is. Put your pen where your mouth is. Sign up, help me get to the Hall of Fame. Get the right shirts. Get it moving. We also have a bunch of other awesome merchandise. Check out talkingbengals.com. We got a T. Higgins shirt that I know our buddies over there at the Who Dey All Day podcast like, because I got one of them. We got another Florence shirt because that's where we're all from. So, might as well jump on the awesome Water Tower bandwagon, talking Bengals, y'all. So get that one as well. I think I've talked enough. I've exhausted it. So thank you guys for listening and sticking with us. And we are excited to get into training camp. This season is underway. Who Dey?
Who Dey?
Who Dey?